Hello and welcome back to the SRL TCR League here, season number 9. We are here for round number 6 from the Sebring circuit, running the modified layout. I hope you're ready for tonight's racing, because I certainly am. Over 35 drivers are competing tonight in a mix of 3 different classes: our pros, our pro-ams and our amateurs. All of them heading out into these wonderful TCR machines, hoping to place themselves as high up the order as they can possibly get. There are the 3 different classes, but the points are on offer for their overall finishing position. That is what counts here, so we do see each of the classes battling between themselves as well as battling the other classes out there, trying to get the best result that they possibly can. Talking of the 3 different classes, then I think that it's only right that we have a look at how each of those class standings are looking as we head into the 6th round of competition here for season number 9. It is Mael at the top of the order for the AM standings with 249 points to his name. He's been sitting first in class within this session for quite some time now, and I think that it shows that he is up there, he is ready to compete in the AM series, and hopefully will take the all the way to the end. Henschel is going to be on his rear bumper though, and wanting to pull a little bit further ahead of him this weekend, just slightly slower than him so far in the practice session. I mean slightly, it's less than a 1/10 of a second between them. So Henschel will be looking to find some pace in qualifying to try and out-qualify the leader of the AM standings. Jeff Saunders, he sits in 3rd in the standings in the AM category. He is the fastest AM driver out there right now in this practice session. So those 3 drivers at the top, the 3 in the session order so far, so they are up there to go for it as best as they can to fight it out for the championship. That being said, there is a mistake on the championship numbers over on the right-hand side for Jeff Saunders. It certainly is not as little as 123 points. This is what happens sometimes. Unfortunately, there are a few mistakes as we type things out, but in that M standings, Jeff Saunders is actually 213, not 123. So that was just a mix-up of the 1 and the 2. So he's on 213 points, and therefore he is within 50 points of Mael, who took the lead in the AM standings following the Red Bull Ring last week. Henschel falling from that top spot. Across to the Pro-Am standings then, that's our middle class here, and it is Marjan Kodeman who sits on the top of that one with 440 points. He took the lead out of the Red Bull Ring as well, with Carl Hardy falling down to 2nd place, 414 points to his name, just ahead of Daniel Lewis in 3rd. You can see how close it is though in that field, in that Pro-Am class. You've got Fraser Gertie up in 4th position. He's 407 points, just a point behind Daniel Lewis. A point further down is Craig Walters. Walters falling off of the out of the top 3 after last week's run at Red Bull Ring. Kev Aylett moves up to 6th position. Ryan Stringer up those orders as well. Cooper Akers, both Ryan Stringer and Cooper Akers getting some good results last week at the Red Bull Ring. We then obviously go down. We've got Luke Jones there and Deck Grother. They ran out the top 10 standings in your Pro-Ams at the moment. And for your Pro categories, it is Dan Mould who sits at the top of the Pro field right now with 590 points. He sits over 100 points clear of Adam Delmont. Delmont only 10 points safe from Borkland, who's moved up to 3rd, with Arthur Thurtle following up into 4th position. Tony Walker's fallen down from that 3rd position spot all the way down to 6th position. As we look down the rest of the top 10, you've got Daniel Downing in 5th, Tony Salomon in 7th, with John Brown, Samuel Spool and Logan McKinsey there. McKinsey getting up into 10th position after last week's race at the Red Bull Ring. That does put Dan Mould in the overall lead of the championship as well, and I do believe that it is Kodeman, who is then the first of the non-pro drivers in that overall league. He's 5th in the overall with Kodeman on 440 points. Dan Mould 590, of course, he's got. And then finally, the team standings then. How are those looking? It is BIS Circuits who are at the top still in the team's championship. They are over 180 points to go as well. 186 points down to BSTV. So Dan Mould, Craig Walters are looking pretty confident out the front at the moment as we head into the back end of this season. Just give it a go. Hold on to... move up to third, I should say. They move up to third from 5th position. They're now on 739 points, 5 points ahead of Sim Racing Norway. Next Gen Racing moved down to 5th position. And Jazz Academy hold on to 6th with SRL, Hydro Race, Lumen and Fun Sim Racing all sitting where they were at the beginning, of the Red Bull Ring round. So they haven't actually changed their order. So that's the standings as they are at the moment. We are here, as I say then, at the 6th round of Asking, and we are running at the Sebring modified layout today. We've still got a few more rounds heading your way, though, and I am proud to say that I will be back for the remainder of the season so that we can cover each and every single one of these rounds as they come towards you. We got Circuit Zandvoort next week, a great circuit to race on. It's going to be fun in these cars as well, an absolute roller coaster. A very tight, unforgiving Winton for round number 8 before we head to the one and only Hockenheim Ring. And, of course, the Nürburgring to round it off. 2 brilliant German circuits at the end of this season, both of them running in the month of December. So I hope you join us all for those ones. To make sure you don't miss out any of the races that are broadcast here at SRL, then make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel where you might be watching right about now. Also hit that thumbs up button as well to like the stream and help that algorithm a little bit so that we can continue to spread the wonderful joys of the TCR League. And be sure also, if you're over on the Twitch page, that you give that a little follow as well. The track that we're racing at tonight then, the Sebring circuit. Unlike most of you have probably ever seen it before this modified layout, we turn off to the right before getting through turn number 2 on the full layout, and along the back straight we don't do the fast swooping right-hander. We head all the way up towards the tyre walls and make a sharp right-hander for that one. Just under 2 miles around, only 9 corners. There's going to be a lot of tow that is going to be helping drivers out. Just like we saw at the Red Bull Ring, I think we're going to see a number of fights again. 2 heavy braking points that we will see those overtakes in will definitely be turn number 1, and then there'll be turn number 8 towards the end of the lap as well. I think we're going to see some good battling going on around this circuit as we get to the end of practice now. Last couple of minutes to go in this session as... in fact, let's have a little bit of a look at what this session is looking at for your timing so you can see where your drivers are stood at this practice session. See where they might be going into the upcoming qualifying and the races that are coming your way. 2 races, of course, tonight. You haven't just got to worry about watching one race and it all being over with. 2 races for our drivers. Anthony Lammer looking mighty fast in his machine at the moment at the top of the pecking order, but it is only half a tenth back to Dan Mould. Arthur Thurtle looking good in 3rd at the moment, and Borkland in 4th, Brown in 5th there. Carl Hardy, the fastest of the Pro-Am drivers, looking to get back onto the top of the Pro-Am standings. Ronald de Jong sits in 2nd in class there, 8th overall. Logan McKenzie splitting them. And we look down the order. Jeff Saunders, our fastest amateur driver, he sits in 20th position overall right now. As you can see, 38 cars in this session, 38 cars with a time on the board. They will all be competing in today's event. This is going to be a good one, a huge field of drivers. You can see a mix there, mostly Pro-Ams, of course, the Pro-Ams being the biggest field of drivers. 19 Pro-Ams, 9 amateurs and 10 pros. So it is that Pro-Am field that takes up most of your spots on your left. A little bit of a different look for us this week, and same colours as we had last week. The green showing our pro drivers highlighted around their racing number there. The blue showing your Pro-Am drivers, and the reds showing your amateur drivers. And as this session ticks over to a close, we'll be preparing ourselves for qualifying, open qualifying for these drivers, which means they are going to need to find themselves some space around that circuit, hope for the best and see what they are able to put in, see where they were able to find themselves ahead of the races. We had some great racing last week. We had a few incidents, especially in that top 15 reverse that happens in the second race of the day. But actually, I think apart from that, there weren't major incidents. There were a couple of cars going around here and there, but for the most part, it was looking really clean for our drivers, and they produced some absolutely fantastic racing. That is the session over with, though, and we will see the practice session come to a close, and we will set ourselves up for our qualifying session. 38 drivers then going to be heading down onto the field to set in a lap time as best as they can in this qualifying session so they can find their way up the order and as best as they can in the opportunities heading in towards the race. Qualifying then underway, and we are going to ride on board with one of our drivers once they come out of pit lane and start their laps. You can see it is busy, to say the least, coming out of pit lane there. Our focus here on the 111 machine of Kev Aylett as he comes out of the pit lane in this massive gaggle of cars. As we will have a little bit of, I love when the track map does this. Let's have a little bit of a look at all of our drivers so we can see whereabouts they are as they come out of pit lane. It'll be interesting to see actually whereabouts is busy on track, where our drivers are able to find a little bit of space out there to put in a hot laps. Not all the drivers heading out straight away. It's a shorter circuit than, well, it's a faster circuit. I think it is a shorter circuit than Red Bull Ring. So the lap's not as long here. But this back straight feels like an absolute age. Getting a tow along here is going to mean everything. Drivers weaving, warming up their tyres as they prepare for a lap. We are going to run on board here with Kev Aylett as he heads up through the final two turns. This is turn 8, up towards turn 9 now, to see what Aylett can do, but also to introduce you to a lap of this Sebring modified layout, which might not be familiar to all of you. There's a couple of groups out there which might have a good opportunity. They've got a distance over, they're not being held up by anybody. Through turn number 1 then for Kev Aylett. Gets close to that inside wall, of course, push it out to the right. But instead of hanging it on the right-hand side, you switch it across the left. You brake nice and early because we're going to be cutting across here as we rejoin the GP loop towards the end of the lap. It's a nice quick run through there. And now this is where you're going to want to get the tow. You've got to get your wobbles through nice and sensibly. Get through the S's, get through it nice and tight. Push it out wide off of the racing surface. Keep it within track limits not to get yourself an invalid lap there, and then get yourself the tow along this straight here. Kev Aylett getting a distant tow from the drivers in front. It looks like he's got the number 70 of Arthur Thurtle. It's the driver directly in front of him here as we head up now towards the final two turns. As you can see, we don't cut to the right, we go all the way up towards the tyre wall. Nice heavy braking zone, push it out wide towards the tyres, and now you want to tuck it in. It's very bumpy through there. You can see that as you ride on board. Extremely bumpy for Aylett, but he is going to come across the line. Other drivers will put in some laps first, but where are they all going to come out at the moment? And it is Aylett is the slowest of all the drivers that we have got so far in this session. That sometimes happens. I think it's the pressure of us riding on board. Don't worry, Kev, we'll go have a look at some other drivers. Ryan Stringer at the moment, he is sitting in 11th position overall at the moment. Stringer had a good week last week at the Red Bull Ring. Could have gone for, well, looking for a better result than he did there. Going for the win, he's hoping. But not showing as much pace at the moment in this qualifying session. A nice quick 10-minute qualifying session. It's going to be important finding your space out there as we watch Stringer head across. Again, you go off the racing surface there. Keep it within track limits. That's not within track limits. But I believe, actually, do you know what it is? I think. Have I not got? Oh no, I haven't got off-track smarts. Okay, that's fine. I haven't got off-track smarts, but no, that is definitely going to be an off-track there. For Ryan Stringer it was, so this will be an invalid lap for Stringer. Arthur Thurtle Fastest man out there at the moment. He'll be looking to keep that space if he's able to. That'll be great for his championship contention as well as we head up towards turn number 1. Get it nice and close, that wall on the inside. Push it as hard as possible. Let's see if Thurdle's able to find any additional time here. Kicking up a little bit of grass on the outside there. Turning in through the cut through as we reappear on the GP loop. Just extending every part of the circuit just enough to stay within track limits, but pushing it perfectly as well as we continue around in the number 70 machine. We head now onto the back straight, getting a tow here from the number 26 machine. That is John Brown. John Brown currently sitting 12th at the moment in this qualifying session. We head up towards the final turn now. As it is such a long, well, the final 2 turns, this is such a long straight, heavy on the brakes. A little bit of a slide there from John Brown, but he gets it back going with a good amount of speed, kicking up some grass, but you can just see how much Thurdle closed in there. Daniel Downing has moved into second, very close behind at the moment. Is it going to be an improvement from Thurtle? It is an improvement from Thurtle, a 12.939 there for Arthur Thurtle. A great lap as Portland goes faster as well. Waiting for some lap times towards back here. This is Thomas Coombe. He is running around without a lap time on the board at the moment. He is in the amateur class in the number 71 machine. So let's see what Thomas Coombe is able to do as he heads up now towards the turn 8 and 9 complex, which caught me out, to be fair. During the practice session as I was watching drivers, I thought someone just went really, really deep at this corner. But the modified circuit means you do run all the way up towards that tyre wall, get it turned in for the final 2 turns. Push it hard all the way to that tyre wall without touching it. A big bump on the exit, another bump as usual through the normal racing line at Sebring and up towards the timing line. And what's it going to be for Thomas Coombe? As he crosses the line, will it be a valid lap for Coombe? As we caught on, everything looked pretty valid, but it looks like still another invalid lap from Thomas Coombe, so unable to put in a time at the moment on the board. Ronald de Jong just comes across the line now to start a new lap. He was 3 thousandths of a second slower on his previous lap than he was on his fastest lap, so showing consistent pace, but that is an off track, and that will be an invalid lap on this time around. Pro and overall championship leader, it's Dan Mould. He sits 7th. Only 2.5 tenths of the pole time at the moment, but just enough to get into 7th. That's showing how incredibly tight it is as McKinsey closes into Thurtle now. It is incredibly tight. The top 33 drivers are within 1 second of each other, which on a 1 minute 12 lap, well, 1 minute 13 lap, it doesn't sound like, well, it sounds like quite a huge amount, but actually, when you've got to think that we've got 3 different classes here, 3 different skill levels, it really does show you that it is an extremely closely matched field. And Littler, who was at the back there, has gone a bit faster as well because he was sitting a number of seconds down. He's closed that time now as we see all the gaps on the left-hand side. Coming up towards the final couple of minutes, though, of the session, drivers will be starting on to their last laps within the next lap or 2. As drivers still pushing around. Can Dan Mould find any time here? Is he going to be able to improve on the 13.2 that he's put in so far? It was a 13.4 last lap. What's it going to be this lap for Dan Mould as he heads up now towards turn number 8, the heavy braking zone? One of 2 major overtaking locations, I would say, around this circuit for the race. Jeff Saunders and Lucas Henschel swap positions there in 18th and 19th in the lead of the AN class. Mail is in 21st at the moment, 3rd in class there. But those 3 drivers are leading the amateur class, and they're all away from the other amateur drivers at the moment. So they're protecting themselves in the points there. As Dan Mould's last lap, 13.4 again. So he is going to be pushing hard to try and improve on that. He'll get 1 more lap after this one, but that is an off track for Mould, and this lap will be in the bin for him. Can McKinsey find anything here, because Logan McKenzie sits just 5 thousandths of a second behind Thurtle. He's going to back out for a last lap push here. He's waiting for a tow. Logan McKenzie needs to find 5 thousandths of a second to take pole position away from Thurtle. He's not backing out of this. Oh, is he coming to a stop? He's decided that's enough. Logan McKenzie here, coming to a stop on the right-hand side, and he has decided that's enough. McKenzie will not improve, which means Thurtle's currently got it. Kev Eilert, Pro-Am driver, 3rd overall at the moment, as Dan Mould has fallen to 8th position in this session. Right, Eilert has gone off track though. This lap will not count. Will he get enough time to get in one more lap? I don't think he will, as most drivers now have finished their laps and are done with their runs, as they don't get too much longer after the 10 minutes of qualifying to finish the laps that they're on. It looks like Thurtle is just about going to hold on to pole position, and certainly he is, as he 5 thousandths of a second clear there at the front. Let's then have a look at how the grid is going to line up then for the first race of the day. 2 races coming your way, but it will be Arthur Thurtle on pole position for the first one. Logan McKenzie will start just behind in second, with Kev Eilert in third. Daniel Downing will start this one in fourth, ahead of Anthony Lammer. Craig Walters will start in 6th position. That will be ahead of Tom Woodcott, and it's Dan Mould in 8th position. Kim Borkland will start in 9th, ahead of Cooper Akers and Jura Lackinen. Daniel Lewis will start in 12th. Fraser Garrity will start in 13th, ahead of John Brown. Ronald de Jong will start in 15th, ahead of Sam Smith. And Ditchler starts in 17th, ahead of Crowther. Then we have Saunders, Henschel, Jones and Mayle, leading Codeman and Hardy to top 24. Then it's Sproul, Dejoux, Stringer and Hard, followed by Gibbons and Hurley in 30th. The back of the field will round out with Thomas Coombe, Andrew Loveseat, Scotney, Olsen, Leah, Littler, Malcolm, and then Chris Dixon. And Reece Watts will start at the very back in 37th and 38th place. All of our drivers then lined up on the grid and preparing to start this first race of the day. 17 laps to be expected here in what will be a 20-minute race around the Sebring modified layout, as drivers prepare to get themselves underway for the 6th round of season number 9. It is, of course, more than their 6th race, with 2 races being completed in each round. This is their 11th. Sorry, the 11th. It is the 11th. Yes, I am right. It's the 11th race of the season for each of these drivers, and it's Arthur Thurtle who will start this one on pole position. He's on the right-hand side of our screens. Logan McKenzie on the left-hand side of our screens as we prepare to get started here. 20 minutes on the clock, and we will get this race underway. It is green flag here at Sebring for round number 6 of the TCR League as we head up towards turn number 1. It's looking like it's going to go 3 wide towards the front of this field straight away. As we head up towards turn number 1, they settle themselves down to 2 wide at the front, and it is going to be Arthur Thurtle leading the way at the front of the field at the moment. They all come in behind without incident so far. Drivers going heavy on the brakes, especially up the inside. On the outside, a few drivers running a bit deeper. It's not helped them out in moving up the order, but for the most part here, the drivers have got through, and actually for the whole part, all the drivers got through without incidents up towards the last 3 drivers on the field where there might be some sort of problem. But it is Arthur Thurtle leading the way ahead of Logan McKenzie. Thurtle moves to the right-hand side to break the slipstream. It is going 3 wide behind as we head up towards the penultimate turn on the corner. It's going to be heavy braking, and it is 3 wide here between Borkland, Akers and Lewis. Lewis is on the right hand side, backs out of it, but Borkland and Akers remain side by side. Akers up the inside, Portland on the outside. It's 2 by 2 by 2 here as we go through the final corner now and up towards the timing line as Arthur Thirdle leads the opening lap of the race. As the rest of the drivers will sort themselves out behind. Portland once again looking to get up the inside of Cooper Akers. Akers holding it on the outside with a great amount of speed. Will get the inside now through turn number 2. Akers and Portland have been side by side pretty much since the start. They have now decided it is no longer time for side by side. Let's settle ourselves down, and that's exactly what they have done. They have sorted themselves out there as we look back towards the rear end of the field where the battling continues, especially with those pro drivers looking to find their way through the field here as changes up front. No changes up front. It's just as we have too many cars in the server for what my system can handle at the moment as we head up towards the final 2 turns once more. McKinsey behind Thurtle. It is going to be Titchener looking to get past Saunders here. Titchener on the outside line trying to carry the speed. It is going to be a harder line to run on that outside, but you can carry more speed. It is going to go Saunders' way, however, in that amateur field. Looking to gain everything he can as it is side by side between Lewis and Akers. This is for 10th position in the race. It is Akers stuck up the inside. It is Lewis on the outside line. It'll switch her back across to the right-hand side here. As there's contact, and Akers goes around a secondary bit of contact. Somehow, Akers keeps it out of the barriers, unlike Jeff Saunders. A big accident behind here. What has happened in this? There was the fight going on in front. It was... There's the contact going on, and behind... I'm trying to catch what happened behind here in this fight as we go up towards that turn number 2. It looks like there was just a little bit of a nudge going into the corner, and it's a swing back across. An innocent victims collected in that one, but a big hit. All the drivers will have to continue around at the moment, but it is going to be 3 wide at a turn. Number 9 as getting caught up in all of that there. Portland gets past Walters. Craig Walters falling down a few. Kev Aylett running the fastest lap last lap. He's sitting in the Pro-Am class looking to try and take the overall win here. It is Lammer and Portland side by side. Portland on the outside. It's going to switch across here though. Portland will get the inside line over Lammer, and Lammer falls down to 8th position here. Lammer was running the fastest in practice. He's not running as fast here in the race, and we'll be hoping to switch that around a bit as the races continue. 15 more minutes of this one. Race number 2 coming up after this one, of course, top 15 reverse, but it looks like drivers now starting to settle themselves down, looking to find the toe up towards turn number 8. Of course, this back straight is where drivers will be looking to get that toe, get that speed, and get an overlap to make the move onto the braking zone. And it looks like we could potentially have that here with Dec Crowther and Ronald de Jong. It doesn't turn into anything there for Crowther, but it does on the exit because de Jong's out into the wall. De Jong swings back across. There's a little bit of contact there, but both drivers are out of it unscathed. De Jong down now behind Dec Crowther. And here comes Fraser Garrity on the outside as well. That 15th place is going to be coveted for these drivers just behind, because they know if they can get into that 15th place, they'll be starting next race from the front of the field. And that's exactly what some of these drivers will be wanting if they're not able to move any further up in the race order so far. Logan McKenzie following Arthur Thurtle around now, still at the front of this field, less than 0.2 of a second. Could this be an opportunity for McKenzie on this lap as it comes down to just 0.2 of a second, 1.5 of a second? We could have an opportunity here out at the front of the field. McKenzie moves to the left-hand side. Arthur Thurtle goes defensive on the inside line. It's going to be the tighter line for him here. McKenzie could push on the exit, carry more speed. But Thurtle running the perfect racing line there. McKenzie not really able to do anything through turn number 9. but could have another opportunity at it up towards turn number 1 now. Thurtle moves to stays to the inside. McKenzie moves to the outside line here. Breaks a little bit later there. Carries speed, and it is side by side for the lead. Through turn number 1, it's going to turn into McKenzie's inside line. Thurtle tried to turn in, but he had a Logan inside of him. And now he's got McKenzie out at the front of the race. Thurtle down to second, but we'll be looking to try and make that move straight back into the lead here as we're heading up towards the halfway point in the race. Logan McKenzie and Arthur Thurtle swap positions for the race lead. Anthony Lammer here chasing down Borkland, looking to do something with his race at the moment. 7th in this race right now, and I have to say, driver who's doing an amazing job. Kev Aylett, Pro-Am class there, up in 3rd position, and is properly bringing the fight to the pros. He's not just there and holding people up. No, he has got the speed, and Aylett has a chance here to take the overall race win. And in these classes, every position does count for points. It's not class positions that matter. It is overall positions. Looks to the inside there for Kev Aylett, just to let Thurtle know, hey, I'm here too, you know. Just because McKenzie's past you doesn't mean I'm going to take it easy. Dan Mould goes fast his last lap overall. He sits in 5th at the moment, and up the inside goes Kev Aylett. Thurtle behind Downing as well, and behind Mould. Issues for Arthur Thurtle, the pole man, the man who has gone from 1st to 5th in just a lap, is now at the back of this train of drivers. And Kev Aylett, he's a second behind McKenzie at the moment, but he is going to get a tow. McKenzie is not. Kev Aylett has even more of a real possibility here to take the win in this first race of the day. Currently, Ronald de Jong will take that reverse grid pole for race number 2 because he sits in 15th position. Daniel Downing rounding out the podium at the moment, but Dan Mould, Pro Championship leader, will be wanting to find his way past as we head up now towards the timing line once more. It's 1.5 seconds between McKenzie and Aylett. Aylett could be under attack here from Downing, but Downing actually may have just opened up the door for Dan Mould on the outside, because Downing has not been able to do anything on Aylett, has had to leave that outside line open, and here comes Mould. He's tucked a tyre up the inside. They're going to run side by side. There's a little bit of a nudge there, but he does move through. We run on board with Thurtle here, who's now side by side with Daniel Downing, looking to try and get up to 4th position and regain a place in this one. Dan Mould now a second behind Aylett, as Aylett looks to be safe at the front. Up the inside goes Arthur Thurtle, has made the move past Daniel Downing, but they are going to remain side by side here as they head up towards turn number 8. McKenzie has pulled a 2-second lead now over Aylett. It's looking nice and comfortable for him out front. Mould looking good in 3rd as well, as Downing takes the speed on the outside. It's a little bit of a slide. Was there a nudge there? I think there may have been, definitely unintentional, but through goes Arthur Thurtle, back up to 4th position. Daniel Downing, down to 5th. Anthony Lammer is struggling there in 6th position to pull away from the drivers behind. He's got Kim Borkman now on his outside. Craig Walters there just behind as well, along with Cooper Akers. They're looking for the top 3 in class, as Borkman tucks ahead of Walters there. Akers now looks to the inside of Walters, looking to try and Akers looks to the inside of Walters, trying to possibly make that move. They couldn't do anything. John Vance is in 10th. Tom Woodcock in 11th there has pulled into this one as well, as this fight here continues to run on at the moment. We're riding on board with Tom Woodcock, and you can see the train of 5 cars ahead of him that goes all the way to Anthony Lammer, 6th place in this race. McKenzie has done a good job to take advantage of the battling that was going on behind, and that gap now, wow, it was 2 seconds. It's maintaining there or thereabouts between 1.5 and 2 seconds. So if he's able to keep that up, it should be okay for the remainder of this race and should be able to find his way to victory in race number 1. But he needs to keep it clean for the rest of this one. 9 minutes left to go in this race as we continue to head around. Battles going on up and down the field, but it is Laconin looking to try and get past Lewis here in 12th and 13th position. There was a couple of cars running near each other behind as well, but they've also settled themselves down at the moment. Laconin looking to get past Lewis. That would be for 4th in class. It would be for 12th overall. De Jong still in the middle of this train, and it really is the middle of this train. Those drivers, Garrity, Titchler and Smith, they're going to be wanting to try and get past here and get De Jong for that 15th position reverse grid pole. De Jong, I don't know if he's he will want more, but also at the same time, sitting in this 15th place is going to give him the perfect start for next race. So let's just defend my position and see what happens, I'd say. 7.5 minutes left on the clock at the moment as Mould and Aylett run side by side out of the final turn, as Dan Mould now looking to go second in this race. He's going to be on the outside line up towards turn number 1. Kev Aylett holds the inside line here. Will Mould be able to carry more speed on the outside? He should be able to, and it should tuck him to the inside line of turn number 2. He runs off the track there, but he does get up the inside of Aylett. There's a little bit of a nudge. Aylett holding it though on the outside, and he keeps the speed. Kev Aylett saying, not today, thank you, Mr. Pro Championship leader. I'm going to take this second place. And here comes Arthur Thirdle saying, yep, you can't get second. So I'm just going to come through and find third if you don't mind. And Thirdle now going for the switchback. Oh, what a move to the inside as we head up now towards turn number 8. It's side by side between Dan Mould and Arthur Thirdle for third position. Thirdle gets the overlap ahead as they head up towards the braking point. Daniel Downing sitting behind this fight, thinking, right, where can I go? Where can I take advantage? Looks to the inside, and it could open the door here as Thirdle gets that position up the inside. Here comes Daniel Downing to go to the inside as well. And Dan Mould, what was going to be a move for second, could lose him down to 5th here. Mould has got the inside of Downing up in towards turn number 1. They run side by side. Mould carries more speed though. Downing looking like he's going for the exit. And he is, and it switches back across, and Downing now has got the overlap on the outside. He has to leave the door open though for Mould. He leaves a bit too much of the door open. Should have seen what Aylett did last lap, because that was a perfect line from Kev Aylett to hold on to second. It won't be enough to hold on to 4th at the moment for Downing, but he is right behind Mould looking for this position. A great race going on in these leading fights at the moment as it's continuing to be a great race just behind as well. This is Lewis leading Laconin. Laconin to the inside of Lewis here. There's going to be contact. Lewis goes off the circuit. Will lose a number of positions here. Will fall outside of the top 15, which falls him out of the reverse grid. It is 3 wide ahead of him for the reverse grid pole. It settles down though, as that was Titchler backing out. Titchler continues to back out here. Lewis and who was that actually? So Lewis goes through. No, Titchler goes through. Who was that backing out? That's Laconin backing out. Right, Laconin backed out to allow Lewis back through. That's what was happening there. So they stopped over as Kev Aylett there under attack from Arthur Thirdle this time. Again, Aylett just placing his car in the perfect position to hold on from any and all defensive from though behind at the moment. Runs side by side. Garrity leading Lewis. Leading Smith though, a little bit of a touch between Lewis and Smith as Laconin sits behind this battle now. Laconin actually comes to the inside of Smith, slows down a bit harder this time after the contact last lap, not wanting to do something similar. Off the circuit goes Sam Smith, however, and we'll have Laconin all over his no, sorry, that's off the circuit goes Lewis. And we'll have Sam Smith all over his rear. Dan Mould now looking to try and move back onto the podium as Mould to the right-hand side. It looks like we may have just lost Daniel Downing in this fight as Mould to the inside of Arthur Thirdle for what will be the battle for third position. Mould has got the inside line, but that outside line can run more speed here, but Mould will get the tighter line. They stay side by side as we come up now towards the timing line to go on to the 14th lap of asking. Mould drops behind but switches across to the inside now to go to the inside of Arthur Thurtle into turn 1. He gets his car there. Thurtle's going to allow him to get that space, but Thurtle now will have the inside into the next turn as Aylett continues to run a absolute dominant defence in P number 2. Thurtle holds on to third. Dan Mould now down to 4th position, and we definitely have lost Daniel Downing from this fight, whether that's a disconnect or whether that is an issue. I'm not 100% certain, but that is a real shame. What it does put is Lamet into 5th position now. It also means that our top 15 goes to Ryan Stringer, who holds on to 15th position at the moment. In fact, that's because there's been a number of incidents happening in this mid-part as LeCanna jumps off the circuit. There's been black flags for drivers like Reece Watts and Luke Jones. Something has happened towards the back of this field that has caused a sudden pandemonium and a sudden change in drivers in the podiums. Titchler now holds on to race 2 pole as Thurtle and Mould go at it again into turn number 1. This time Mould is on the outside line, but Thurtle carries the speed on the inside. Mould backs out of that one. Is he going for the exit? He certainly is. Thurtle runs onto the dirt on the outside line, but will hold the tighter line here. Mould trying to go for the switch back. It's not enough. Just being disrupted by Thurtle's rear end there, and it will continue to be McKinsey, Aylett, Thurtle, Mould, your top 4 in this race. With 2 minutes left on the board, we're going to be coming up to 2 laps to go as we cross the line this time around. As you can see, McKinsey's race out front has been very strong after he got past Thurtle. He's just been able to pull it away. Aylett doing a great defence there in P number 2, allowing McKinsey to continue to pull away as this fight for P number 3 continues up towards the final 2 turns. Thurtle holding on ahead at the moment. As I'm not sure who's still in this race and who's still out of this race at the moment, as this has been literally that lap. I don't know what happened. Suddenly penalties galore, drivers dropping down galore, and the whole bottom end of your top 20 just switched around a significant amount. Hopefully we'll have a look at the full race results at the end of this race, and we'll see what exactly that has been done to the races. As Dan Mould here still behind Thurtle. Aylett again, his defence going well there on Thurtle as we ride on the rear end of Kev Aylett here, looking back at Arthur Thurtle and Dan Mould, who sit in 3rd and 4th in this race. Aylett doing a great job to get a good result as up the inside of Thurtle looks Mould. There's a bit of contact onto the grass. Goes Thurtle. That will give Mould the position here. Will he hold that position, or will Mould allow Thurtle back through after that tiny touch of contact there? Mould is going to take the position. No. Oh, is he? Yes, he is. He's going defensive. Thurtle on the outside. Mould is going defensive. He is going to hold that position after that little bit of a knock, putting Thurtle onto the grass. Dan Mould holds third. He's trying to close the door there, but Thurtle gets his wheel in, and here comes Aylett getting involved at the front, defending that inside line as we go on to the last lap of the race. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. No, Dan Mould backs out of it. Thurtle holds into 3rd, going to fight for an Aylett. Mould completely backing out here. Why is Mould backed out so much? Does he think the race is over, or has he not got enough fuel? Because Mould is backed completely out as Aylett has to hold on to Thurtle, who's dived straight up his inside. A little bit of contact there. Kev Aylett and Arthur Thurtle side by side. Aylett's got to wheel up the inside. Thurtle's got to wheel up the inside. Aylett's stuck on the outside. He's going to continue to be stuck on the outside. He is going to have to back out of that one. And here comes Anthony Lammer. Dan Mould is down to 7th. Surely I think he must have a fuel issue here to drop down that far as we now head up towards the end of the lap. Kev Aylett sits behind Arthur Thurtle now, up towards the final 2 turns. Aylett's going to go deep. He tried to get that drive on the outside. He goes deep. Is he going to be able to defend from Anthony Lammer? He certainly is. But Logan McKenzie is going to win the first race of the day at Sebring. Third will take second. Aylett in third ahead of Lama. Portland will take fifth ahead of Walters, Akers and Mould. What happened to Mould on that last lap? Down to 7th position by the end of that one, as Tormal Mail here sits in 19th position. He's coming around in that third place in the AM class. Ahead of him, Henschel and Oslin Leah will take the win in the amateur class. Drivers then taking the checkered flag towards the end here. Scott Malcolm running side by side with Chris Dixon. Who's going to come out on top? It is going to be Chris Dixon by a 10th of a second, as the rest of the field comes around to take the checkered flag here at Sebring. The race is checkered, and race number 1 of the day comes to a close. So let's have a look at how the first race of the day will finish here, as let's get our results up. It was a win from Logan McKinsey, able to get past Sturtle earlier on, quite early in the race, actually 5 minutes into the race, and just pulled away from there. Arthur Thurtle took second place in that one, 8 seconds behind. That's how much McKinsey was able to pull away with the battling going on behind. Kev Aylett wins the Pro-Am class. He took third overall in that one. Great for his team. Just give it a go as well. He moved into third in the team's championship after last week's round. Anthony Lammer sits in 4th position ahead of Kim Borkland. Then we've got Craig Walters ahead of Cooper Akers. And Dan Mould falling down there on the last lap of the race must be a fuel issue for him. We might see if we can get a word there. John Brown will finish that one in 9th position ahead of Tom Woodcock in 10th position in that one, as Biss Circuit's actually doing a great job again. They're leading the team's championship. They're in 6th and 8th position in that one overall, so a great result for the team. Deck Crowther took home 11th in that one ahead of Geraghty, and it was Hardy in 13th. Titchler took home 14th ahead of Ryan Stringer, not able to replicate his good race at Red Bull Ring. Andrew Loveseat took home 16th position ahead of Vegard Olsen Leah, and Lucas Henschel take home 18th ahead of Sydney Hards and Paul Hurley. Ryan Stringer, though, not able to replicate his great race at Red Bull Ring. However, this reverse grid for the second race will place him into pole position for the second race of the day. So that is a good result for him to be in 15th and get that reverse grid pole. Mail took home 21st position in that one ahead of Thomas Coombe. Andy Littler took home 23rd. Then we saw Marhan Kodeman finishing in 24th position ahead of Chris Dixon in 25th. Scott Malcolm finished in 26th ahead of Reese Watts and Nick Scotney, the last driver on the lead lap. Sam Smith, Ronald de Jong down a lap. Ronald de Jong was holding on to that 15th place reverse grid pole. Issues for him within the last few minutes of the race when we saw quite a few positions change. Couple of laps down out of the race was Daniel Lewis, Jura Lackinen, Luke Jones, Jeff Saunders, and Daniel Downing, who we saw disconnect from the top 5. So a real shame for him. Samuel Sproul, Stuart Gibbons, and JB Dejoux all out as well, not wanting. Not the race that they wanted for race number 1 there. 38 drivers started, not all of them finished, but they will be preparing themselves for race number 2 and hoping to do a little bit more in that one. I'm going to see if I can get myself a cross very quickly. Got a couple of minutes. And I really want to see if we are able to have a quick word with the man who fell from a very high position towards the end of that one, and we kind of want to know why. Dan, are you there?
I'm here. I was hoping you wasn't going to pull me in this. I'm not going to lie.
At first, I thought you might have thought it was already a checkered flag. Was it a fuel issue? What happened on that last lap?
It's not a fuel issue because the fuel's fixed in this league. It was a driver error, thinking it was the last lap.
So, I thought that at the start. Were you thinking it was the last lap? So, when did you realise, oh no, now's the last lap of the race?
So basically, I got caught up in the action of what I thought was the last lap. And then as we went over the start-finish line, I said to Kev, you absolutely balls that corner up. And he went, why are you stopping? Keep going. I'm like, why? then I saw the white flag. I'm like, oh no. And then it was just, yeah.
So yeah,
it is what it is. It is what it is.
It shows even championship leaders makes mistakes like that sometimes. Hopefully, you'll remember. You were learning so much about the yellow flag this week that I think the white flag was one that you just need to pick up on for race number 2.
Correctamundo, yeah, correctamundo.
Right, good luck for race number 2, Dan.
Thanks, mate. See you later.
Another man that I want to catch on to there, if he is around, is the man who managed to put up a stellar defence all the way until the very end there, coming home in 3rd. Kev, you did a fantastic job holding on to 2nd.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah, well, you're pretty well prepared for this race for a change, and it was nice to mix it up at the front with the big boys, apparently.
Yeah, just showing that you have got some good pace here. You qualified really well, quite far ahead of the other Pro-Am drivers. And I was saying, it wasn't that you were there in the way of anyone. You were very much matching pace with those at the front, and you were driving really, really well. Were you quite a little bit annoyed that you weren't quite able to hold on to 2nd at the end?
I think my tyres were starting to go off a little bit, so in the back of my head, you know, when you're a division, a class below the pros, you kind of got to play the long game. No matter if I came 2nd or 3rd, finish the race, get the better points haul than where you normally finish, say, in the top 10 anyway. But yeah, it's played a long game. It works out better long term for me.
Right, well,
I'm not
good
too bothered
luck.
by that.
Good luck for race number 2 then, and see what you can do in the reverse grid, obviously starting from 13th.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
And that was Kev doing a fantastic job there, holding on to what he could do. So let's have a jump around then and see what is our grid going to look like for race number 2. Well, that is going to be a reversed top 15, and we should have just enough time to quickly run through the grid for this one, which will have Brian Stringer on pole position ahead of Titchler. Then we will see Carol Hardy in 3rd position ahead of Geraghty, ahead of Crowther and Tom Woodcock. We will then see Brown ahead of Mould, Akers and Walters, Borkland in 11th and Lama in 12th. Then we've got Cavela ahead of Thurtle and McKinsey, our race 1 winner. Then we've got Lovesey, Olsen, Leah, Henschel and the rest of the field on your grid, which are in order of their race 1 results. It's only the top 15 that will be put the wrong way around. As you can see, they're going across the field there, so you can see all of the drivers that they are going to be starting. It is going to be a good one for this, because our drivers are going to be heading out for a 25-minute race this time. 5 minutes longer than the first race of the day. It was a 17-lap race for race 1. We'll get ready for 21 laps of action. The top 5 drivers out there are all going to be Pro-Am drivers. Tom Woodcock, the highest pro driver, he starts in 6th in this one. Our highest amateur driver, Ricardo Olsen-Leah, will start in 17th overall. Just missed out on the reverse grid there that took the top 15. What that does mean is our podium from race number 1. Logan McKinsey will start in 14th. Arthur Thurtle in... Logan McKinsey will start in 15th. Arthur Thurtle will start from 14th. Kev Aylett, who we were just talking to there, 13th position, will be hoping to mix it in once again with the big boys. As he said, it was nice to see that he had pace to keep him up there. Our other driver that we pulled into the box, Dan Mould, starting this one in 8th position, should be starting a little bit lower, but didn't realise what the white flag meant. It doesn't mean, hey, back out of it a little bit. It does, in fact, mean there's one more to go. We are going to prepare for 25 minutes of racing action here in race number 2. The lights are down. We are away for race number 2. Ryan Stringer pulls away from the front of the field. He will have the inside line heading up to turn number 1. They're all going to be jockeying for positions. Can they keep it clean on this first grid? Drivers inside the top 15 obviously looking to move their way forward. They are going to be looking to try and get the best result that they can, but the race is not going to be won at turn number 1 or turn number 2. It is going to be lost for a lot of drivers at turn number 2 though, as a couple miss their braking points, and it's caught up a whole load of drivers in that one, as Ryan Stringer continues to lead out front and doing a nice job of remaining safe there. We're just going to have a look to see who were the ones that were the big names caught up in that. Kev Aylett was caught up in that one and falls down at the order in this second race of the day. It looks like Logan McKenzie is also out. Race 1 winner is out of this one as well. Some big issues at the start of race number 2 for some big names. As it's side by side now between John Brown and Dan Mould. Mould moves up to second in class, 7th overall, as the drivers head across the timing line for the first lap. And Ryan Stringer holds the lead. It's still side by side, but this time it is going to be Mould on the outside and Brown on the inside. They remain side by side as Brown takes that position, cuts across to go defensive on Mould and will hold it. Lammer looks to the inside of Cooper Akers. How hard is Akers going to fight this? Not too hard. He allows Lammer through, and we're hoping to follow the pro driver up the order here. The field on the left-hand side. 35 drivers starting this second race of the day. A number of drivers down and out with issues on the opening lap of this second race. We go on to the back end of the lap right now, and the front of the field have relatively sorted themselves down. This is Luke Jones chasing down Paul Hurley, the number 12 machine, in the middle of your screen there, and Jones moves to the right-hand side, will have the inside up towards the braking point of turn number 8. We'll be trying to move up to 24th position here. If he can get it tucked up the inside, it's side by side right now. Jones up the inside of Hurley. Jones gets that position, but Hurley keeps the wheel in on the outside, forcing Jones to keep the tighter line right now. And De Jong just behind, trying to get involved. It's also side by side ahead. Reese Watt and Chris Dixon, they're going to 21st position at the moment. But it continues to watch this fight going on with Jones ahead of Hurley. Jones on the outside line. Hurley on the inside line at the moment. No, Jones, yeah, that is, and De Jong behind. I'm trying to get used to all of the liveries as they come through, and they get themselves and around. Goes Chris Dixon, contact with Sam Smith, and he collects Luke Jones. Luckily, Jones doesn't seem to have, oh no, it could be a potential meatball there. That looked like could be some suspension. No, it looks like it's all right at the moment heading around, but not what Jones would have wanted. Brown chasing down Woodcock here as they're looking for 6th position in this one. Mould and Lammer fighting behind as well. Mould to the inside of Lammer. Mould gets the inside, and it is going to be Brown to the inside of Woodcock. Brown gets that position on Woodcock. Mould gets the position on Lammer right now. Side by side as well between Thurtle and Portland. Thurtle looking to move up the order, get another position here. As Portland, though, is looking to stop him from making that charge. Portland to the inside, to hold that inside line, and it is the amateur driver, Vigard Olsen, the fastest as both Portland and Thurtle off the circuit. Thurtle much wider around as Titler takes the lead of the race past Ryan Stringer. Stringer fighting to get back in the Audi, though, on the left-hand side of the circuit. A little bit of contact. Titler holds on right now, and here comes Carl Hardy. Hardy to the inside of Stringer, looks to the inside of Titler, won't do anything on Titler. It's going to be a switch back on the exit, though. Ryan Stringer going for it. Hardy wanted to make the move past Titler, but you can see with Stringer being there, he decided to stay behind, but he is now going to make that move, and it is going to be 3 wide up towards turn number 8. Is anyone going to back out of this? Stringer's going to move across. He has got a huge amount of overlap. Hardy backs out, could invite Garrity into the fight right now. Titler tries to hold it on the outside line, trying to carry that speed, but he is wider than he wanted to be. It allows Stringer to regain the lead, and here comes Carl Hardy to get back through for 2nd position. Titler, though, is going to hold it on the inside line up towards turn number 1 now. So it's going to be Hardy and Titler side by side. Titler gets the speed on the entrance. Hardy's going to carry the speed through the corner. Can he keep the wheel in? No, he can't for turn number 2. Hardy backs out of it. Titler holds on to P2 at the moment. Ryan Stringer with a half a second advantage now out front, feeling a little bit safer than he was earlier on in this one. Definitely last lap. He's now back to the lead of the race and safe. Dan Mould sits behind John Brown. They are behind. Deck Clother, in fact, that is going to be a huge dive to the inside for Dan Mould. So much so that John Brown went late on the brakes, caught the back end of Deck Clother there, but Mould goes to the inside. and does look for that move. There's also another overtake attempt here. Hardy on Titchler for second. Hardy makes that move. Titchler wanted to switch back, but Hardy placed it perfectly that Titchler just couldn't carry the speed. Mould gets to the inside of Brown, leading the pro class now, but wants to dispatch the Pro-Am class to move to the front of the field as well. It's been 7 minutes. We've still got 18 minutes left on the clock right now. Arthur Thirdle looking to try and get past Cooper Akers. Borkland's already done that, but Akers back up the inside of Borkland. So trying to move back into 8th position in this race. They run side by side. Thurtle deciding to follow Borkland to the inside. It's side by side now between Thurtle and Akers, and Thurtle goes through. A little bit of a touch. Akers onto the grass there. Will hold that position for now. Henschel's just behind. Henschel leading the amateur class, looking to get past Cooper Akers. Won't do that at the moment. Henschel, Olsen Leah doing a brilliant job in the amateur field. They're in 11th and 12th position right now. They are ahead of Anthony Lammer, pro driver. They are proving that they've got some speed here in their machines. John Brown, though, looking to try and get past Deck Crowther. They run side by side as Brown looks to follow Mould through past the Pro-Am driver to the inside. There's a little bit of a nudge there. Will Brown be able to hold the inside line and get that position? He certainly will. And just behind, it's side by side between Borkland and Thurtle. Borkland on the inside of Thurtle. He will hold that position for now. Thurtle still in 9th, Borkland in 8th position at the moment. Titchler going to go back for 2nd position up the inside of Carl Hardy after they switched around. Hardy holds on to 2nd right now. Will have that inside line onto the braking zone as well. Titchler looking once again to go for that switchback. Hardy just places that car perfectly to stop the switchback from happening. Running a little bit slower on the racing line because he's getting that car tighter than it really wants to be, but it places his car perfectly that Titchler's just not able to take any sort of advantage. 17 minutes on the clock here. Ryan Stringer leads by 1.5 seconds. Can he take the overall win here? I'm sure he will be really wanting to do that. Dan Mould, you can see at the back of that train up to 2nd now as John Brown trying to follow Mould up towards that train of drivers as well, as this fight will continue and will invite more drivers in as the race goes on. 16 minutes on the clock as Ryan Stringer comes up towards the timing line to take the 8th lap of asking here. Is that going to be an opportunity for Geraghty as he moves towards the inside up towards stand number 1, tucks in behind, and now he does move to the inside line. Here comes Geraghty to the inside of Titchler. Won't make that move, will back out of it, and here comes now Dan Mould behind, moves to the left hand side of the circuit. They'll run side by side. It'll be the better line for Geraghty, and Mould not able to do anything at that stage out onto the main part of the circuit again. Mould just will have to be patient for a moment before he makes the move. Is he going to go for the dive onto the back straight that we've seen him do before? Yes, he is, and he gets to the inside of Geraghty. Geraghty pushes hard, pushes onto the grass. Mould swings across to the right to make sure there's no contact between the two drivers. Geraghty does hold speed, however, even after going off the circuit there, so it remains side by side between Mould and Geraghty here up towards the final 2 turns, but Mould gets the inside, will hold that. Brown looks to try to get to the inside of Geraghty, almost contact there, but Geraghty holds on to 5th position. Mould now up to 4th and looking for the podium if he's able to get there. Racing still going on behind as well. Sam Smith, Sydney Hards, they're going at it 16th and 17th. You can see the damage to Sam Smith's car, however, so there are some issues there. Deck Crowther now on the back of Borkland, moves to the left-hand side, looks to try and get to the inside, sorry, around the outside, but Thurtle just takes the advantage of it and moves through for 8th position. So that's a switch around again, and Deck Crowther now down to 9th position in this race at the moment. Laconen behind teammate there of Ronald de Jong. They are going to be fighting hard, but they're also going to try and be respectful. They've got Jeff Saunders just behind us, Dan Mould and Fraser Geraghty side by side again, but this time Geraghty to the inside of Mould. Did have Brown pushing for a moment, but it is going to be 3 wide here. Will Brown back out of it, or is he going to stick his nose in? He's going to stay there. It will remain 3 wide. Brown gets to position, but he was to the inside. Will it be a cut track for Brown? Because he was very much on the inside. Brown holds that position right now on the inside, in the middle of the circuit. Mold's got the speed on the inside. Garrity trying to hold it on the outside, and here comes Borkland to the inside as well. There's a little bit of a nudge on Borkland on the rear end of Mold. Borkland goes through though, sits in behind Mold into 5th there. John Brown down to 6th and has got Garrity up the inside. Garrity going to hold on to that position out of John Brown. Brown falls down to 7th and all of that. That's invited Arthur Thurtle back into this race as well. What it has done is given Titchler a 2-second lead over Dan Mold. So the podium right now of the 3 Pro-Am drivers are looking relatively safe. Still got 13 minutes on the clock though, as that was Garrity running off the circuit there, and here comes John Brown to take advantage of Garrity's mistake, gets the inside, and Arthur Thurtle is going to try and follow Garrity through here as we head up towards the braking zone. In fact, Thurtle looks to the inside of Brown, just keeps in a fraction of his car, but it's not enough to scare Brown away from taking that corner. Garrity gets an excellent exit there out of turn 8 through turn 9 and will regain that position. Arthur Thurtle not getting the speed will also lose out to Deck Crowther, who makes that move through. Cooper Akers to the inside of Arthur Thurtle as Thurtle continues his position, as that was also Lucas Henschel through. I think that may have been some sort of slowdown for Thurtle, because he's just had to fight with Lammer to hold that position there. But Henschel right now, amateur driver, inside the top 10 here, has been doing an absolutely fantastic job. As Vigard, Olsen, Leon not doing a bad job either. 13th position, Scott Malcolm inside the top 20 as well, all in those amateur fields. Just behind Henschel then, Lammer looking to get past Thurtle here. Thurtle having a poor lap at the start of this one. Really lose yet another position. Lammer to his inside. Thurtle to the outside with that front end damage there. It is going to be hindering Thurtle. Side by side between Akers and Henschel ahead, as well as Lammer gets that position on Thurtle. Henschel momentarily held the position on Akers, but Akers will get that tighter line. It will get the speed, but once again Henschel is going to have that advantage to come back, because it is going to turn to the inside line on Henschel here. Akers will be looking to carry the speed on the outside. A little bit of a wobble there from Henschel. He keeps it facing the right way, but he will have to give up the position to Akers, and Lammer saw that happen as well. Dive to the inside. There is a little bit of a nudge, but not enough space for Lammers to actually make that move work. Lekonen behind De Jong here. They're going side by side between the two teammates as De Jong goes deep. There's contact with Lekonen, who runs straight into the back of him. Jess Saunders can see this happening in front. Can't do anything with it at the moment, but this is a huge train of drivers. It runs all the way to Sam Smith in 16th position. It includes Scott Malcolm, Paul Hurley, Daniel Lewis, Sidney Hards, Ronald de Jong, and Jura Lackinen. In fact, I would say Jess Saunders is in that one, as well as Mould gets to the inside of Titchler and will move on to the podium. Titchler down to 4th in this race now. This huge train of drivers heads up towards turn number 8. 10 minutes left to go in this race, as none of these drivers in a position to overtake just yet, but they are all getting themselves lined up as the race continues on, just holding on within a couple tenths of a second of each other. Talking about a couple of tenths, Deck Crowther closed his couple of tenths down to about a 10th behind Garrity. Is reopened again, but he is getting right onto the rear end, looking to try and find his way through for 7th position in this race past Garrity. Cooper Akers just behind, also looking to find some speed and find some time around here. 9 minutes on the clock remain as they come across the line this time around. We're looking at about 8 more laps of racing, which is enough for absolutely anything to happen, and I'm sure it will. The gap between Stringer and Carl Hardy has reduced to 0.6 of a second now, so if Hardy continues to push in the laps that he's been putting in, we could see a fight towards the end of this one for the race lead. Last lap, Carl Hardy was only a few hundredths of a second quicker than Stringer, but average on the last 2 laps has been running faster. Right, on to the 14th lap of asking for our drivers now, and Ronald de Jong has some issues, major issues, contact with the teammate after that one as well. It looked like he already had broken suspension on the front right for de Jong. What happened here? He moves to the right, he misses his braking zone completely, he doesn't quite avoid everyone, and then there was the collection that we saw with the teammate, and it's both teammates out there down at the back of the field. Like I said, anything can happen, and it will. As that's 2 drivers out of the race in one instant there. Deck Roper leading Cooper Akers now. Akers leading Lammer. This is the fight that goes up to Garrity in 6th position. I'd say he's just about in it there. 8/10 of a second ahead of John Brown. Roper though holding on to Akers, but Akers looks to the inside there. Will have to remain behind at the moment. That was Lammer looking to try and follow through on the inside. Henschel is at the back of this one and is no means not getting involved. Henschel outside of the top 10 once more in the amateur class. However, he is right there and could get himself involved. Are we going to see Akers ahead? Go for another move on Crowther? No, it stays single file between all the drivers at the moment as we've got 7 minutes left on the clock. Carl Hardy has continued to close to Stringer, so we should have a fight for the lead very, very shortly here at the Sebring modified circuit. Henschel goes off track there a couple of times, but he is pushing hard to try and get past Anthony Lammer and get a top 10 overall result here, which would be great for the amateur standings for himself. Regard Olsen-Lee doing a great job as well, 13, getting some good points. Both of these drivers had a strong run race as well. So a strong race 2 race for both of them will really help them in the championship standings. We head up now towards the final turn. In fact, we will go through the final turn because this is Carl Hardy. He sits in 2nd position, chasing down Ryan Stringer here for the lead of the race. And if he is able to do this, we ride on board with the race leader. It's half a second between them at the moment as they go across the line, as we'll have about 6 more laps of asking with Hardy behind Stringer. As Borkland, the fastest man out there, he sits in 4th at the moment. Mould is only a further second back here. So this could actually turn into a 3-way fight for the lead by the end of this one. In fact, just in that opening sector, he has closed 2/10 to Hardy. Hardy's lost a 10th to Stringer. So this could turn into a 3-way fight very, very quickly here between these 3 drivers as they continue around looking for the race win if possible with 5 minutes left on the clock. The other fights are continuing, but they are actually similar gaps to this one. The only one that is closer is Lammer behind Akers right now, looking for 9th position. Riding on board with Lammer, chasing down Akers as we head up towards turn number 8 here. And at the moment, there's just nothing really that can be done. Lammer's just sticking behind, chasing Akers as we come out of the final corner, and they will remain in the positions that they are at the moment. Mould, however, is now closed up to Hardy. Oh, it's opened up again. It was down to 2/10 of a second, but you can just see how close these leading 3 drivers are now. When is the fighting going to start? Mould getting right to the back end of Hardy here, is hoping to get past as quickly as possible to get himself the opportunity to get past Ryan Stringer and then move forward into the lead of the race. And that would be great for his championship standing, of course, leading the championship by over 100 points. He will be greatly take another win this season. Up towards turn number 8 here. Again, the slipstream, this massive long run. That sun going to be blinding them just a little bit as they head down here. Hopefully they've got their tinted visors on. Right, we go through turn number 8. A tighter line there from Hardy. Does put 4 wheels under the white line, but we haven't seen that become a slowdown for anyone, so I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. In fact, I'm just looking. Doesn't look like counted as an off-track, but it did for Stringer, because Stringer's had to back out. He definitely had an off-track there. Our race leader from pole position has just had to back out of the lead of the race from a slowdown. Dan Mould holds on to second. Carl Hardy missed the slowdown, but Mould now has one less driver to overtake as Stringer down to third. Stringer won't be letting go that easy though. He will be pushing hard to try and keep up with the drivers in front of him, get back involved with a potential fight for the lead. We're going to 3 laps to go next time around, and Mould is all over the rear end of Carl Hardy. Where is Hardy going to go to defend? Stay on the outside or take the inside? Stay on the outside it is. Mould to the inside line here. Back across, doesn't have the overlap, will have to stay behind for now as Dan Mould follows Carl Hardy through the final turn now as we go onto the 19th lap of asking, with 21 expected. Less than 3 minutes on the clock. Carl Hardy leads the race for the first time today. Dan Mould will be in second position. Ryan Stringer down to third after leading all of the laps so far. From the slowdown at the end of last lap, it has been a bad run for Stringer there, but he is still on with a chance of a podium if he can keep the speed over Kim Borkland. Arthur Dirtle just not able to find the speed in this second race here. Behind Anthony Lammer, still in this race, but down to 11th position now. As we come through and head up towards turn number 8 once more. Will Mould once again look to the inside line? Or will he decide to stick it on the outside line behind Carl Hardy? Remains behind for now. It'll be 2 laps to go at the line for our drivers. They go on to the 20th lap of asking. Slightly different lines there, but Carl Hardy leads the way with 2 to go. Dan Mould in second, Ryan Stringer in third. Kim Borkland just a second behind, wanting to get onto that podium as well. Across the line goes Hardy and Mould though. They lead the way with 1:20 on the clock through turn number 1 and in towards turn number 2 here. We know that Mould's faster through this first sector. Is he going to back it up just a little bit to get the speed on the exit here? It looks like he actually caught the grass a little bit. It drops him behind Hardy. Hardy now has almost half a second advantage, which will help him if he can keep that gap going up towards the final lap. Can Carl Hardy be able to stay towards the front here? As he comes up now to out of turn number 7 towards turn number 8. And it is Carl Hardy. 2.5 tenths ahead of Dan Mould. Will Mould go for the move now? Or will he go on the white flag lap next time around? He stays behind. Mould, there's 1 more to go. Don't back out of it this time. We know you now learn what the white flag means. It's go as fast as you can. It's the final lap. Let's wipe that white flag. There it is. The final lap of the race. Carl Hardy and Dan Mould are going to be going at it for the lead. Will Borkland be able to go past Stringer? He has closed half a second in the last lap and he sits just half a second behind. Dan Mould keeps his throttle in. He knows that the white flag means a final lap of the race. He knows that the black and white checkered flag means that it is over. He's not seen that one yet, so he's going to keep racing. Dan Mould, 2.5 tenths behind Carl Hardy, will be looking to try and find a way through, and I think it will be into turn number 8 that he'll make that move. We have seen him dive to the inside before though, and he goes for it, and there's contact. Carl Hardy tried to turn in, but there was a Dan Mould there. You can't put Mould at fault for that one. He made a perfect move to the inside line. Dan Mould leads up towards the end of this lap. Kim Borkland just a few tenths off of Ryan Stringer there in third. Hardy looks to the inside of Mould. It won't turn into anything. Borkland can't do on Stringer, which means that out of the final turn, Dan Mould will lead only one lap of this race, and it's the final one. Dan Mould. That's the checkered flag. You can now back out of it. Dan Mould wins. Ada Hardy had a stringer. Portland took home fourth. Titchler came home in fifth, and this train behind. Brown ahead of Garrity, ahead of Clover, ahead of Akers, ahead of Lammer. And then it was Arthur Thirdall. Could only take home 11th. A great job from Henschel there to take home 12th out of Olsen Leah in 13th. Reese Watt will come home in 14th position as drivers now come to finish the second race of the day and call it over here for round number 6 as a little bit more instance in that one for drivers, but what a battle to the end at the front. But it was Dan Mould who came home at the top of that one. And with that over then, let's have a look at the race results from this from race number 2 here at Sebring. It was Dan Mould, our race winner, 2/10 per second ahead of Carl Hardy, who held on ahead of Ryan Stringer. Stringer just getting that podium ahead of Kim Portland. Dennis Titchler took home 5th position ahead of John Brown, and it was Fraser Garrity in 7th. Deck Crowther took home 8th ahead of Cooper Akers, and it was Anthony Lammer who rounded out the top 10 in the end. Arthur Thirdall only could manage 11th in that one. Lucas Henschel and Vegard Olsen Leah doing a great job in the amateur class for 12th and 13th. Reese Watt finished in 14th at Mahon Codeman. It was Sam Smith in 16th with Scott Malcolm in 17th position ahead of Jeff Saunders. Sydney Hards sat in 19th position for the end of that one, and Daniel Lewis rounded out the top 20. 21st was for Nick Scottney ahead of Andy Littler and Chris Dixon. Kev Aylett came home in 24th after a great result in race number 1, caught up in that opening lap issue. Luke Jones came home 25th. A lap down was Mail, Hurley and Coombe, and out of the race was Ronald de Jong, Jura, Lekonen going together, the two teammates going into the wall after de Jong had a bit of an issue. Out even earlier than that was Andrew Lovesley and Tom Woodcock, and out right towards the beginning of the race was Logan McKenzie, Stuart Gibbon and Craig Walters. And that is round number 6 over here then today around the Sebring circuit. We will be back, and I will be back for broadcasting at the Circuit Zandvoort for the Grand Prix layout next week on November 21st. Make sure that you don't miss it. It is going to be an absolutely brilliant one for the 7th round of competition. We enter the back half of the season here today, and we now go to the back end with just 4 rounds to go, as the league finishing in less than a month's time now. So all the championship points do really mean something for the teams and for each of the 3 classes, as well as the overall standings for that one. So make sure you catch us at the Circuit Zandvoort. If you're watching over on the YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you see all of the SRL content, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button on this stream as well so that you can show how much you are supporting the SRL team. And also, if you're over on the Twitch channel, make sure you hit that follow button so you can catch all of the content that is broadcasted on Beehive Built Broadcasting. We'll be back on Sunday for some more TCR action, and then we'll be back with the Mazdas next Tuesday as well. So make sure you hit the follow button here on Twitch. Right, I hope you have a fantastic evening and a fantastic weekend, and we can't wait to see you for the next round of competition at Zandvoort here. But before we run off, I am going to get one more quick go at catching some people over in our commentary booth. So let's see if we can talk to Ryan Stringer for the first part there, leading the majority of the race, but falling down towards the end of that one. Ryan, it just wasn't to be the race win.
Yeah, no. I got to slow down on the final corner, so I ended up dropping back. And I knew that I had the pace to hold them 2 off. So it's a shame that I couldn't keep that lead until the end.
Yeah, it was shared. That's what we thought happened as you came through. You had to give up that lead. It was a very close fight, and I was looking forward to the defensive drive you could do. But a 3rd position's a really strong result after race number 1, obviously finishing 15th. It put you on pole position for this one. So I think that it was a good result, even if it wasn't a win.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't looking too forward to Sebring. I know it was heavy on the brakes, and the Audi's not too good on the old brakes, and it doesn't really like the track. So coming into this, I wasn't too happy, and then during race 1, my pedal started bending, so I was like having to adjust myself in my seat to try and brake, and then I got this resolved for race 2, and it was just like, oh damn, I got to hold this off now, and it was going well until.
I was gonna say you found pace at the beginning. There was you took advantage of some battling going behind. You were able to pull that gap. And how worried were you when you saw that gap? It was over a second, and it was just getting closer and closer and closer.
I mean, I was kind of like pushing the two behind me back. I mean, Cole and Demis were in a good battle, so kind of let me get away a little bit. I had a couple of mistakes. Then Cole caught me, and then Dan was coming out of nowhere, and I was just like, "Oh, don't do this, don't do this." And then I got slowed down, and that was race over, unfortunately.
Wow, a third position is still a strong result though, Ryan, and it will help you obviously in your Pro-Am Championship fight that you've got going on, and hopefully it will move you even closer towards the front of the field.
Thank you.
All right, that was Ryan Stringer there, who has finished that race in third position overall, second in class in the Pro-Ams. From that one, let's see if we can. We're going to drop. Well, we're going to stay up towards the front for the moment. We're going to bring in Dan, who we talked to after race number 1. He's learned that the white flag means the final lap, and it's not the race over. And fortunately, it meant that he was able to put on full throttle and go for the lead there. A great dive up the inside, but it wasn't easy going. You had to really make your moves to get up towards the front.
I did, yeah. As soon as I saw Ryan get that slowdown, because I was already settled on just to try and battle Carl and get the second place. I thought it would have been a tall order to get them both, but yeah, as soon as I saw him get that slowdown, I was like, get the boosts on here and see what we can do with Carl, work him out. He's got brilliant racecraft as Carl, and he was putting his car in the right places. So it was just about trying to get close to him towards the end of the lap, and then try and go for that move that I'd done a couple of times in the race on previous drivers. It's a bit of a risky move, but as long as you get your car side by side on the turning, I feel like it's fair. But yeah, I was really close, and then just as he turned left to open up the corner, I just floored it and then just held that inside, and it seemed to work. So yeah, brilliant race. I enjoyed it.
I was going to say, I think you practiced that move a few times during that race as we caught you going to that inside line, getting it. And yeah, as you say, there's a couple of contacts through that corner as you did make that inside line. I know that I caught one of them, and it was an interesting move where a driver went off the circuit completely after you've gone up the inside. As you say, you think it's a fair move that have been down that inside, getting there side by side?
I don't know. I mean, it's subjective whether it's a fair move or not. It's touring car. It's a move that works fairly if both drivers are on sync. I think Fraser tried to do it to me on one of the laps, and I saw him on my right screen go for it, so I left the room. But it's one of them moves that if you don't get it right, it can end in disaster. It is risky. It is. I'm not gonna lie. It's aggressive. But
last lap of the race,
kind of the way I race, I'm afraid.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Well, that was great though. Another win for your championship. Obviously, you're already sitting over 100 points clear in the standings, and that's just going to chalk up some more points to your name. So. I think at this point it's almost fair to say you've got one hand on the. I think actually you got both hands on the trophy for the standings at this time.
Not necessarily. The drop week's come into play this weekend, so that'll really close the scores up. I don't feel I'm going to be that far ahead. Maybe 20, 30 points when they take the drop weeks off. So we will see when Dan gets them posted. But it will be interesting. I've had one bad round where I scored 0. But I do know the guys in competition with me have also had bad rounds. So we'll see how it goes. But it is going to be close. It is going to be close.
Right, 4 more rounds then. Netherlands next week. Good luck to you, and hopefully, for your sake, that those drop weeks don't affect you too much.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was Dan Mould, race winner of race number 2. We're going to pull across a couple of the amateur guys in here now. We're going to first talk to Scott Malcolm in this one. He finished 17th in that race. It was 3rd in class. Scott, that is a great result to finish inside the top 20. Well done.
Yeah, that's not bad considering I didn't like the track at all. It's not one of my favourites.
And you had a great fight going on there as we popped down towards that mid-pack of the field. It was extremely tight in where you were for quite a lot of laps there. A number of drivers getting involved in fighting. It was a whole train of them. Were you excited about that? Were you nervous about that? How are you feeling being in a train of drivers?
With the calibre of drivers that were behind me, I was kind of, how could I put it, backing myself a bit. So, like, I just aimed to try and keep position. I wasn't going to go for it. It's not. It wasn't a track for me to have a dive at or stick my nose in. I just like, I want to stay here. That's where I'm finishing.
And like I say, you finished with a very strong result in that second race, and you've came home 3rd in class, 17th overall. It's going to help you in your championship standings as well as you are sitting, of course, in 4th position. You moved up from Red Bull Ring as you came out of Red Bull Ring, and you've had a good result here. You beat Jeff Saunders, who's sitting ahead of you, of course, by just a few points in the championship. So are you hoping to get into the fight inside that top 3 going into the final 4 rounds?
Yeah, I think I'm more than capable of getting within the top 3. Maybe top 2, we don't know. But Lucas seems to be a fast driver. Jeff seems to be pretty nifty with Audi. And yeah, but just have to see what happens in the next 4 rounds.
Well done here, though, at Sebring, and good luck for the next races at, of course, we're going to Zandvoort next week, and then heading across to some very tricky circuits of Winton across to Germany. So good luck for the rest of the season, and I hope to talk to you again.
Yeah, cheers.
That was Scott Malcolm finishing 17th position in that one. And finally, let's pull across Lucas Henschel, been waiting there patiently in the interview waiting room. Coming home 1st in the amateur class, came home 12th in that race, was sitting in top 10 position for a few points in the race. Lucas, you fell down to 2nd after the Red Bull Ring last round. I think this is going to pull you back up to the lead. It has been a great weekend for you.
Well, I sure hope it does. I sadly missed last race. I'm sadly gonna miss next race as well, but after that, all for the points. Let's see how it goes. To be fair, I'm never racing these cars outside of this league, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with the results, yeah.
There, you were showing more than just amateur skill there, running around with those pro drivers in front of you who were following quite closely to Arthur Thurtle, who was battling for the win in race number 1. Did you feel that you could have got that top 10? Do you think it was just within reach, or did it fall away towards the end there?
It was within reach, I think, but to be fair, there was a lot of battling going around earlier, so the tires kind of fell off. I was more concerned of the guy behind me. So yeah, I just really tried to hold the position to get the points and finish the race ahead of Vigard, Olsen, Leah. So that was all I had to do, and that's what I did. And yeah, still pretty happy. First race was kind of Second race was great. Yeah, I feel confident in the car by now. Like half a season's over. I do quite enjoy these cars. It's really fun.
There are some great cars to drive, and yeah, getting that confidence now, halfway point, properly in there with the fight. You say not here next week, but the rest of the season, well, it means you'll be turning on Winton, quite a tight track. How are you feeling about that circuit?
To be fair, I've never driven it, so let's see how it goes.
Well,
Maybe it's the first time luck I'm gonna get there.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck learning that circuit in these cars. It's going to be a tricky one, but hopefully, as you return, you'll be able to pull yourself towards fun. A couple of drop weeks, of course, should keep you very much at the top of the field in that amateur standing. So well done on the second race today, and we will see you in a couple of weeks then when you return in Winton.
Yeah, see you then.
That was
a good
Lucas.
night.
That was Lucas Henschel then, who finished that one in first in the amateur class, 12th overall. A great result, and for all of our drivers here, it has been a mixed bag for a number of them. Some great race ones into some poor race twos, and then some poor race ones into some great race twos. So a bit of a mixed bag for our drivers. The championship standings will be updated over on the SRL Discord so that you can have a look at those very shortly. The link to that Discord is in the description of the YouTube video. It'll also be on screen at the start and the end of these broadcasts. You can have a head over there so you can keep up with everything and get yourself involved as well. From me here then at Beehive Bill Broadcasting and for the SRL TV, I hope you have had a great evening of racing, because I certainly have. And we will see you then next time out when we head across to Circuit Zandvoort for the 7th round of competition on November 21st. But from me here tonight, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.